Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Zero from TechDragon.info, and today we're taking another look at the test server. This is the 10.0 or 10.0 test server. Yeah. Now, there is a lot of content that changed, so I'm gonna have to just take a look, but I think we might split this up into two separate episodes because it might just be too much content for just one episode. So, let's get started. We have 28 tanks, including a couple of others actually, but we'll get to those later, that got HDified. So let's go over every single one of them, starting off here with the KV-1. Not really much has changed to the tank itself as far as I know. It's just prettier. That's all there is to it. I really don't know why they keep mucking up those fenders. Like every single tank they do in HD, the way to check it is, well, you can look at the barrel, but the easier way, just look at the fender. If it's dented, then it's HD. It's a bit annoying if you ask me. Like, why do all the fenders have to be, like, you know, just screwed up? If you take a look at museums, and sure, some of these are dented and stuff, but supposedly you're playing these tanks whenever the war was actually going on around that time, not, 60 years later. So why do they have to look like crap? But that's just me. They look good, don't get me wrong. I just don't like that they keep denting these damn fenders. And it doesn't even make sense if you look at it. Like the dent in there, but the track actually sticks out further. So anything you would hit, you would more than likely push over or go over rather than your fender being dented there. But, yeah, whatever. It just annoys me. But yeah, that is the KV-1 now in HD. Bit of a weird thing on top of the... I'm wondering if this is a sort of shot trap. Oh, right, I haven't even talked about this. The garage now is somewhat more interactive. You've seen this technique already used in the 5-year anniversary, I think it was. You can actually hover over these boards here and I will give you some extra information. The texts are quite funny. I'll keep them on screen here for a second so you can pause the video if you want to read them. You read this one first, and then you read this one. So, yeah, if you want to pause it and read it, there you go. Or take a look at it when it actually comes out. We have some more over here. Rampage mode. And Ghost Town. So, yeah, that's as far as I can tell it for the garage. For all the new things in there. So, yeah, KV-1. KV-220. Now, this thing is a bit controversial. The frontal armor actually got buffed from 100 to 120 millimeters. I'm sorry, but that's just hilarious, this thing getting more armor. I mean, yeah, it was really necessary. This thing was struggling to win. Let's take a very, no, not that. Statistics, very quick look here. Oh, well, that apparently is broken. Okay, that doesn't work anymore. Well, I haven't played this tank all that much, so it's somewhat down here. There we go. 76% win rate. Only 9 games, but look at my armor use efficiency. Yeah, this thing really needs more armor. So that's fantastic. Speed got buffed as well, but supposedly, even though it got a higher engine, it now has an 850 horsepower engine. From what I heard, people are saying that this thing is the same speed or slower than it was before, so I've not tested it out. This will probably come in the second video. I'm gonna test things out, like driving around, looking at maps, that sort of stuff is all gonna be in the second video. This video is gonna be focusing more on the aesthetics of all the tanks and stuff, so we're just gonna visually look at most of them. So yeah, KV-220, extra armor and a better engine, but supposedly it is slower, and I don't know why, but we'll have to figure that one out tomorrow. At least I think it's going to be tomorrow. Maybe I have enough time today, but something tells me we won't. So, the very confusing IS-8 has been renamed to the T10. But it's not a tier 10, it's a tier 9. It's still confusing. The thing looks fantastic though, but look at these lower plates. This is interesting. They have additional plates welded in here that are actually just sort of useless armor, as it were, but it prevents shot going up, and it's just gonna hit these plates and lose their penetration and not do jack shit and just glance off. So they might penetrate these plates if you shoot up at the tank, but then it won't do things. So I'm pretty sure these are to stop shells from actually glancing up and to just dissipate the penetration and just have him glance off even more. As far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the goal of those things. They're sort of shot traps, as it were, but not in the sense where they capture them, but just diminish the penetration and to make them glance off more. I feel like this beak is higher, but I don't own this tank myself, so I haven't really extensively looked at this tank. So I'm not entirely sure, but it looked pretty good. Some additional armor here in the back. Pretty much nowadays, any HD tank that has tracks on it, count this as additional spaced armor. So tracks will actually stop some rounds. Well, not stop them maybe, but... And we got some optics here that now actually look nice. So yeah, looking good here. I have no idea about the armor profile of this tank, if it changed or not. It certainly looks different, but I'm not sure how much is actually different. I haven't read anything about this tank, like change-wise, if they did any substantial amount of changes. Now, for this next tank, the only thing I keep asking myself is why? Why HDify artilleries? I mean, what is the bloody point? In this case, I have an idea why, because I'm pretty sure this is... No, it's not the same hull armor. Is it a KV hull armor? Yeah, it's a KV hull armor. Okay, check it. That. They probably reused most of the armor there, I'm guessing. No, it is actually slightly different. Anyways, but seriously, think about it. Why would you HDify an artillery? Now, if they had the hull laying around, then there's, you know, just a superstructure to do, which is not that much, so it's not that much work, I guess. But if you think about it, artillery players don't see their own tanks for the entire game. They don't look at them, almost never. In about 40% of the matches, an artillery never gets spotted by the enemy team. Or 50% even, like every win, pretty much, an artillery almost never gets spotted. But you do have light tanks running around. So I'm going to say 40% of the games, of all games, one of the sides of the artillery is never going to get spotted. So what's the bloody point in HDifying these things when almost nobody ever actually sees these things? They're hidden for almost the entire game. The person who's playing them doesn't look at his own tank. You're not playing like this, like other tanks. You're not playing top-down view in your tank. You're looking over there and not here. So I kind of fail to see the point of HDifying artillery at this point. Like, do them last. They're the least important. And this has nothing to do with if you like artillery or not. It's completely beside the point. Just gameplay-wise and player base-wise. Like, who actually sees their artillery? Nobody. So what's the point in HDifying them right now? So yeah, I think that's a bit of a waste of time really to focus on that, but that's just me. But there you have it. In HD, it's gigantic, but there you have it. So on to the next one, the Pz.Kpfw, Pz.Kpfw 2. Yeah, it's a low tier tank. It's a tier 2. You hardly ever see any of these around, but I guess it looks nice. Actually got round wheels. That's another HD check, by the way. If you can't check the barrel if it actually has rifling in it, check the wheels if they're actually round, or the barrel. Barrel is another one of those things. If you take a close look at the barrel of a non-HD tank, you'll see that they're actually not round, but they're sort of hexagon-ish shaped. Same goes for the wheels. But you can see here that these wheels are actually round, so HD check. On to the next one, the 38T. Yeah, look at the fenders, they're dented again. And again. Yeah, I don't know why they do that. But looking good. Moving on to the Pz.Kpfw S35 739F. I hate the name of this thing, it's impossible. S35, I guess. This is the medium tank, not the heavy. So the medium tank got HDified. So I'm guessing that this technically, if it's in line with everything else they've been doing, should be spaced armor. So this might actually count as a frontal armor buff, because it's space armor now. So yeah, still looks weird. It's still, yeah, you almost never see people play this thing for good reason. It just really isn't a fantastic tank. Gun, yeah, gun is not terrible for tier 3, not fantastic either. Yeah, it's just, nah. So, moving on to the VK, and this is where things get a little bit weirdish. It's been so long since I played this tank. Like, this is probably 2-3 years ago, so you don't really see many of these around. I don't really play tier 4-ish tanks all that much, so I'm pretty sure that this gun mantlet has become bigger. Like, it's actually sticking out from the sides and top now. I don't think it was that big. And overall, it's just a normal PZ hull. I mean, that's what they pretty much all look like, right? But that turret just looks bizarre. With that gun shield, basically, is what it is. It's not even a mantlet, it's just a shield in front of some sort of mantlet. So this might actually count as spaced armor now that I'm thinking about it. So the gun mantlet on this thing might actually be pretty damn tough now. It's only 57mm, but that is the inner strength. So this might actually be a pretty decent turret now. I'm not sure. We might have to test that out, but not too shabby. Tiger 2 has been HDified, and apparently the driver of this tank can't drive either. Yeah. Not really much has changed. They placed this thing a bit higher. You would think that this track piece would be within these clamps, but apparently it's floating above the clamps. Or... oh, no, wait, I see. Ah, those clamps are actually, like, in here, hooked into that, as you can see here. So there might be another piece of tracks that you can hang from here. Aha, gotcha. So, yeah, I don't think much has changed. Let's do the rifle check. Yep, I see rifling in there. Good. I don't know if much changed in the armor profile, at least looks-wise. I mean, it's HD, don't get me wrong, but doesn't look like anything changed. I do wish that this armor would behave better, though. My target 2, I own this thing. The only thing I still need is the final gun. I do have it on here. I have gone through all of these and upgraded them fully. But I feel like the armor is just non-functional in this tank, and I really hope with the HDifying that the armor becomes a little bit stronger, because for me, my Tiger 1 bounces just as many shells as my Tiger 2, which is pretty ridiculous. I feel like the turret sloping here is a little bit different. The turret just looks slightly different. I don't know if it's... I don't know. Maybe this is a little bit smaller? So the sloping is a bit more pronounced? I don't know. The turret feels different. Gonna have to get back to that. I'm not entirely sure, but I think the turret is slightly different. Moving on, we have the Martyr 38T. I really wish you could actually zoom in a bit more and see some of these details, because, you know, in these tanks you can actually look in, so... Now, I'm not sure why... oh, I wonder if I load my shells, do they actually show up in here? Let's test that. Okay. Accept. Yes. Aw, it doesn't. Lame. I mean, come on. You really need to make those shells disappear in an open top vehicle. You can actually see, like, you know, loading. Plunk. Shell disappearing. Plunk. Shell disappearing. Anywho, yeah, Martyr 38T. That just looks weird. I guess it has to be pretty tall to reach to the gun. Machine gun underneath there. Some tools in the front. Yeah, pretty much your same PZ hull, now just with an open top on top of it. Yeah, looks good. Moving on, the Jack Panther 2. This thing received a slightly nerf, I think. Let me actually look here. Give me a second here, I'm reading. If I can actually find that. Jack Panther Ferdinand, or Jack Panther Ferdinand and Jack Panther 2. Shell flight speed of the 105, of the 105mm, 10.5 centimeter, pack L/52 gun changed from 805 to 950 meters per second, so the shell velocity went up. That's actually a really good buff. Yeah, so all the shell velocities are now the same on all those tanks, but that actually is a buff. But I did read something about the armor profile receiving somewhat of a nerf, but looking at it, this looks steeper. If I'm honest, this looks steeper. Wasn't this like that before? Instead of that slanted back? This looks slightly different, but I think that the armor might actually be sloped back more than it was before, so if that's the case, it might actually bounce more shells than it did before. I don't know, that looks weird. I'm not entirely sure. Let me know if anybody owns this tank. If I'm wrong or right. I don't own one, so I can't easily compare this, but I think that this is slanted back more now than it was before. But I might be mistaken. Now, this thing has been HDified as well. Or was this thing already HDified? No, it's new. A couple of changes to this thing. The top speed is now actually 38 on this tank. I'm looking, yeah, from 28 to 38. So that's pretty good. There were some other buffs mentioned on this tank, and I'm reading nothing about it in the patch notes, so I don't know if they chose to not use those or change those things, or I'm not entirely sure. What they were talking about is to remove the machine gun weakness. Now, again, this might be something I need to test in the field tomorrow or today or whenever, but they removed that. They changed the sloping on the lower plate and on the upper plate and changed the thickness of the roof. But it's kind of hard to tell, and Tank Inspector doesn't work ever with test servers. It just crashes every time you try, so I don't even try anymore nowadays. I don't know why, but it just craps out every single time. So I'm not sure about the armor profile. Gonna have to get back about that one, if they buffed it or not. And the same goes for another tank later on, so I have to get back to that. But yeah, looking good overall. Yep, I like it. Looks good. Moving on, we have yet another artillery piece. There were a lot of artilleries done. I really don't know why. But yeah, this thing looks very sharp. I don't know why, but it looks very sharp. I really wish I could zoom in more, especially on these small tanks. We're so far away. I mean, but these are pretty close by, but damn, just look at the size difference. Holy shit. So yeah, that is the Pz.Kpfw 6E, apparently. Weird ass name. Comes with a spoiler to go extra fast. The Vespa has been updated as well, as you can see here. Again, I don't understand why they spend time on artillery right now. I would say that would be the least priority, since nobody ever sees those things, or hardly ever. As well, for the Strumppanzer 1 Bison has been updated as well. This is a weird ass gap. What the hell? Okay, why wouldn't they just close this off and just put a plate here? Why keep it open? That is bizarre. Well, it's hard to see, but it looks like there might be some viewport slits in here. Like those look like viewports in there. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Moving on, we have yet another artillery. Yeah, I know. Okay. Got some, well, quite a bit of a spare track on this thing. Lovely details on the inside, of course. Again, I really wish you could zoom in and actually see some of these details, but oh well. Moving along here, the M3 Stuart has been HDified, and yep, we have crapped out fenders. Oh yeah, even worse. Yep. So none of these drivers can actually drive, clearly. So basically, Wargaming is saying that you as a player suck at driving this tank because you keep denting your fenders. Lovely, isn't it? This thing has an insane amount of machine guns. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but there's 3 machine guns on this thing, and then 1 in a turret here as well as the main gun. It's pretty insane. I wish you could fire all of them. And there's one on top as well. Jesus. 3, 4, 5 machine guns and a main gun. That would be hilarious if you could actually fire all of them. Can you just imagine the rain of shells? I mean, I know they wouldn't pen jack shit, but that would just be hilarious, just spraying so many rounds. So yeah, that is the M3 Stuart. Moving on to the T2 medium tank. Yeah, what can you say about it? It's a low tier tank. It's really not that interesting. Not many people playing it. You hardly ever see these things around. People play for like 2 games, they're done with it, and they move on. So, again, not that interesting. But, you know, everything needs to be HDified at some point, so. And this thing, have you seen the gun? I don't know if that is supposed to be like that, or it just looks bizarre. So, this is actually not the gun. I mean, that is the mantelet extended out. I don't know if that's new or not. I've never noticed it, but the actual gun is on the inside there, and it's much smaller. That's really weird. Yeah, that is a 75mm howitzer. So yeah, that is weird. I have no idea. Again, wish you could fire all the machine guns on this thing. That would be funny. So yeah, looking good. We can look in the tank as well, partially at least. Don't think you should be able to see the light there. That might be a glitch. Not really on that side. It is on that one. Well, that actually might be light. No, that's not light falling in. I don't know. That's a glitch, I guess. Now, the M7. I don't know what to say about this tank. This tank has been weird to me. I've had really good games and really bad games on this thing. It has no armor. Supposedly, this is a medium tank. If you look at the stats, the whole armor, the gun, the speed, this thing should have not been classified as a medium. There is nothing on this tank that would make this a medium. If you take a look here, there we go. Everything seems to lag the game massively, by the way. Like every action you click, if you research a tank, if you upgrade a module on it, everything seems to lag the game now, which is really annoying. But, I mean, take a look. Light, 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 medium, light, light, medium, medium, heavy. I mean, this whole tree is weird, don't get me wrong, but why is this thing classified as a medium? I don't know, maybe it was historically? But to me, just looking at the specs, looking at how this thing plays, at everything, this thing is not a light tank. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mind, because that means that you do get normal matchmaking on this thing, which is very nice. It would not do that well as a scout, but turret reverse is good rate of fire. I actually preferred the 6-pounder gun on this thing. That was just how I played it. 38, 33, 31 millimeter of armor. I doubt HDifying this tank would have given it any more armor, and if so, it's still not enough to do anything. It does seem like this thing is a little bit more rounder on the sides here. This rear seems a bit more rounder than it was before. I don't remember actually having a sort of bulge on there. So yeah, looking good. I like this, the looks of this thing. I'm debating if I want to buy this thing back. Like I said, I've had very mixed results. I've had fantastic games on this thing, and the next game you get one shot and it's over. So, I don't know. This thing definitely needs to be played as a flanking light tank. That's where this thing excels. Anything else, well, passive scouting it can do as well. View range 380 is pretty damn good for a tier 5. So, yeah, this thing, just, if you're playing this, tip of advice, use this thing as a light tank, not a medium. So, now we get to the T-34, and this is again where things get a little bit weird. Let me grab the stats here. So, currently, on the live server, the whole armor is classified as 127 millimeters. It went down to 102. However, I do believe that this sloping has changed quite a bit from what it used to be. So, that means that it might actually be better armor or equal to what it was before. Again, I will have to test this out with, I don't know, with a training room or maybe some armor application thingy program. I'll have to see how, but I'm not entirely sure what happened to this tank. Stat-wise, it looks a bit weird. Now, let's continue. There's a couple of good things as well. Don't get me wrong, it's not all bad. There's a couple of really good things as well. So, I think that the frontal armor, even though it's less millimeters, actually got buffed because of the sloping. Not entirely sure, but I do think so. Side armor of 76 has remained the same. I thought I heard they were going to upgrade the side armor, so I'm not entirely sure what happened there. As for the rear armor of 51 has remained the same as well. But you do have this sloping here now as well. I don't think it was like this before. At least not so. I don't know. It just seems weird to me, this back. So, I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, I might cut into a section here where I jump into the live server, if I don't forget. If not, then I probably forgot. So, moving on here. Turret armor. This is where things get interesting again. The turret used to be 298 millimeters. It is now 279. So we're actually missing armor on the turret. But I think, again, the angles of the turret have changed ever so slightly. Which means that, effectively, it is probably going to be the same, if not better. But again, I don't have an armor profile program thingamajiggy to really double check those numbers right now. When and if I do, I will either put the numbers on screen or I will catch up in the next video, get back to this. I don't know, we'll have to see. I'm just going off the numbers right now. So that technically, number-wise, went down. Now, as for the side of the turret, used to be 197. It is now 127. Side of the turret got massively weaker. That is actually quite the bummer. That really stinks. Not happy with that. Now, if you get shot on the side of the turret, I mean, most people would have still penned with, you know, less than 200 millimeters of armor. They would have still more than likely penned, but it could be pretty troublesome. Losing, what, 80 or so millimeters or 70 is quite a bit. I'm not all that happy with it. Rear of the turret, 203 millimeters. This was 152. So we're looking at a buff of the rear of the turret, which is understandable because it has a gigantic slab of metal on the back here. So yeah, the rear actually got buffed, and it's so freaking hilarious to see when people flank this tank. Even with the previous 152mm, people would shoot the back of the turret and still bounce off, even if you just angled it a little bit, like this kind of angle. They would just plunk off the back of your turret instead of shooting your engine deck, which was hilarious. So yeah, the rest didn't really change here, nothing as far as I can tell. So we're just gonna have to wait and see, but I'm not entirely sure, like, if this really is a buff or if it's a nerf. It's kind of hard to say right now. So this is just something that we're gonna have to either test out live or figure out in some other way. But yeah, of course it has been HDified, obviously. Another major bonus. So if you're looking at this tank, okay, let's look like this. This is a front, right? You can just see the barrel there. This is the dead front. The lower plate has become slightly smaller due to the angling on it, so less weaker armor. And the lights are actually flickering. Oh, that is annoying. I just noticed it now. I can't stop seeing it. Okay, that's bloody annoying. But look at the hatch. The hatch is almost hidden. You have this new sort of bulge in the turret that you can see right here. Side profile there. Better from this. That actually slopes up towards the hatch there. Cupola, as you can see. So it's even harder to hit the dang thing now than it was before, and it was already not that easy to hit. So that is pretty amazing. You're gonna have more glancing shots just bounce off the top of your turret. So overall, I would say this was probably a buff, but I'm gonna have to verify those numbers to really make sure that it was. But it really seemed like this thing has been buffed, which is fantastic, with a couple of nerfs here and there, and the side of the turret is a bit weaker, which is a bit of a bummer. That means that at this kind of angle, people are more likely to pen than they were before if they shoot the side of your turret rather than your hull. But, you know, if they did before with about 200mm of armor that you had before, you were looking about 230, 240-ish that you needed to pen, and now you're looking at 190 or so with this kind of angle. So yeah, a lot more will pen your turret from the slight side here, which is problematic. But again, I have to verify this in a armor kind of layout thingamajiggy. So moving on, the AMX 12T has been HDified. Look at the cute little thing. Still pretty square, not very rounded. Yeah, it's a 12T. What can you say about it? It's a 12T. It's a piece of tank. That's sick there. Next. Now, this thing actually got eyelids on top of the eyes here. That's definitely the most profound change on this tank. Other than that, it looks fairly similar. Although, what I don't remember is this gap being this large. Now, before, I do believe that the tracks were actually just straight and not sagging down like they are now. So that might have made this look smaller, but I feel like this has been raised up. Like the entire size of the tank has changed. Now, I don't own this thing anymore, so I can't very easily verify this, but I just feel like the size of this thing has changed a bit. But I'm not entirely sure. Might just be me. I'm not sure. So, yeah, bit of dust everywhere here and there in the cracks, as you can see. But overall, looking good. This is actually a decent TD. It's not bad at all. I kind of like this thing. And I feel like this lower plate has been sloped a bit more, but don't quote me, and I'm not entirely sure. I'm just going off the top of my head here, guys. I don't know every tank's exact armor profile off the top of my head. especially tanks that I don't own anymore. Covenanter here, I do actually own one of these to play some low tier games. It's an okay tank. It has its moments. Looking good here. I don't know if anything changed, not a clue. But yeah, just HD find. You can see the riveting on the turret here. Apparently they were riveted on. If you wonder what riveting is, it's basically like bolting it on, as it were. Slightly different process, but to give you an idea, that's these little bumps here. They're sort of bolts that you push in, then you do something to it, and that actually fixes it into place, and you can't really take them out. That's like the whole thing about riveting. It's a sort of one-time process to screw something in, but without the possibility of screwing them out again. To sort of describe what it is. And it was something they did earlier in, and later on they found out that welding was actually a lot stronger. So later on they started welding all these things rather than riveting them in. But early days they did riveting, as you can see here as well. So that's what they did with the earlier tanks. So moving on, the Vickers Medium Mark III. Damn, this thing is tall. Damn, look at this. That's quite a taller tank. This thing is just has so many guns as well, and these things don't look like they're much smaller caliber than the main gun, which is ridiculous. I really want to be able to fire this thing. And as far as I can tell, these are actually traversable turrets, by the looks of it. At least partially, if not entirely. They might actually be able to turn all the way back here, which would be fantastic. Can you imagine just having these aim towards where you were aiming, so they all converge into a single point? That would be fantastic. I would love that, just to fire these things at the same time as your main gun, like all four of them fire. That would be funny as hell. I really want multi-turret, damn it. Come on, Wargaming, step up your game. The Matilda, the Seal Clubber's choice of tier 4 tank, has been upgraded into HD as well. Again, armor profile, value-wise, hasn't changed as far as I can tell. The gun mantlet looks a bit different here. Like, I'm not sure if these are actually weak spots now, if you can shoot through the quote-unquote gun mantlet, because it's opener now. Not entirely sure, and I feel like this hatch has become slightly bigger, but again, don't own one. I'm just going off the top of my head. Other than that, it's just HDified. The front here looks slightly different, but and it looks slightly wider than it did before, but that just might be me, but it looks like it has been widened out a bit. And last but not least, we have yet another artillery. Well, I can understand them HDifying this thing, because that must have taken like 20 seconds to HDify this thing. There's not much on this tank, so done. Yeah, weird ass tank. Small as hell, low tier, nobody really cares, but it's HD. Okay, let me prepare the next section here, and this is why I'm gonna split it up into two videos. We're already 30 plus minutes into this one, so let's move on to the tanks that have changed. Some of them are in HD as well, but let's take a look.